Diane, would you like maybe to do your welcome now?
Sure. On behalf of the Parish Council, I'm happy to welcome you to the 2020-21 Middle School year. We are looking forward to a very productive year, a year with a partnership between you as the parent and us as teachers and administrators to ensure that our children can achieve their potential. We recognize that in order to be successful in school, and especially during the pandemic period where classes are held virtually online, our children will need to support from both the home and the school. We know that a strong partnership with you will make a great difference in your child's education. As partners, we share the responsibility for our children's success and want you to know that we will do our very best to carry out our responsibilities. We ask that you guide and support your child by A, making sure they're on time for their virtual online classes, and especially when they come back eventually to in-class. They do their homework, communicate with your child's teacher, whether it be with concerns or with just a job well done on as far as the teacher's part. Also, we would like you to consider joining the PTO, where your child can benefit from your volunteering, planning, school activities, and just being around the school will make your child want to be there more. Our teachers have done an excellent job thus far for preparing for this new school year. I want to thank them all from the bottom of my heart for all their hard work during these challenging times. I thank all the parents for trusting us with their education of their children. We have heard your voices, opinions, and have considered your suggestions. We feel that our teachers are very well prepared to take on a very challenging year with a pandemic. The wonderful teachers, Father Anthony and I, are privileged to be part of this school family. We thank you all for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Omnibus Creek School Virtual Open House for 2021 academic school year. My name is Vasiliki Lakotianis, and I am the school administrator of the Omnibus Creek School. Along with the teacher and academic advisor, Mrs. Musuli, we'll present a slideshow with important information for our Greek school program. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a question and answer session, so I would kindly ask everyone to hold questions for the end so we can address them all. Before we start, I would like to take a minute to introduce myself. As I mentioned before, I am a teacher and the school administrator of the Omnibus Greek School. I hold a bachelor's degree in early childhood education from the University of Patras and a master's degree in special education. I am a certified and licensed English as a second language teacher from the state of Massachusetts, and I teach English learners at Peabody Public Schools. I have been teaching Greek as a second language for the last 6 years. Mrs. Anastasia Musuli is a teacher and academic advisor at the Omnibus Greek School and will introduce herself later on in the presentation. Ms. Georgia Nikolakakos is an experienced pre-K and K teacher, and she's very experienced with this kind of age group, and she has been teaching in Greek as a second language for the last 8 years. She enjoys very much working with young children. At the administration, we also have Mrs. Diane Karavitis, the president of the Parish Council, and Father Anthony. Following the safety and health guidelines from the city of Somerville, we'll initially resume lessons remotely, and as circumstances allow, we will transition to a hybrid model and then eventually and hopefully to a fully in-person learning. Our educational objective is to offer a well-rounded and relevant Greek as a second language education. This objective instills a sense of pride in Hellenism, identity, and community. Our guiding principles are A, opportunities for one-on-one and small group instruction based on the needs of our young individuals. B, explicit instruction which sets the students as active learners and integrates smaller units into meaningful goals. Engaging instruction that motivates students and is focused on their interests. C, deliberate use of synchronous and asynchronous learning. The synchronous learning would be mostly the instruction, and the asynchronous will offer a more student-paced learning and will reduce screen time for students. Mrs. Musuli will show us a typical school day later on. D, we have clear and consistent communication with students and their families, which is very valuable for student progress. For the next two slides, we have some pictures from last year. On this slide, we can see opportunities for small group and differentiated instruction, as well as student-centered activities that are also engaging. On the first picture on the left, the two students are creating their own story in Greek based on visuals. This is a multi-sensory activity, and I would like to add that the students were deliberately chosen to work in the same group, but they did not have the same language proficiency, but they did have the same age. This grouping is very beneficial to students as it supports oral and written language. Well, because the more advanced student was supporting the other student. At the second picture, we see a student pretending to be a teacher and explaining to the other students the lesson that was previously instructed. Giving responsibility to students can be very beneficial as students are active learners and they're very, very excited to role play. The last picture on the right shows a cultural activity that the pre-K and K students had to do for Apokris, which is a Greek Halloween. And it is also a multisensory and a very engaging activity. Now I will pass on to Mrs. Musuli.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anastasia Musuli. I'm a teacher and the academic advisor for the Almeros Greek School. My educational background is that I have a degree in primary education from the University of Athens, Greece, and some other degrees in actually music education and music performance. These are my two big loves, music and education, from Northwestern University. I have been teaching Greek as a second language for more than 10 years, and this is my second year at the Almeros Greek School. And I'm very excited for this challenging, but I think very fun new school year. I think even though we are transferring to online learning, this gives a lot of opportunities that were not there in the physical classroom. This is one of my favorite shapes that I like to share with families when I do presentations. The student triangle of support, as this is probably the foundation of successful learning and community building. Even more so under the current circumstances, where the families and caregivers are our most valuable supporters while we're teaching our students virtually in a setting that we cannot really control from the other end of the screen. This triangle illustrates clearly the importance of parents and teachers working together to support the students. All three parties are practically equal in this equation and learning process, with the ultimate goal to help the student achieve their highest potential, both academically and socio-emotionally. Clear communication between the teachers and the families help us educators gain insight into the students' classroom behavior and better address their needs. Moreover, when parents understand what the teachers are trying to achieve, they can provide valuable support and assistance at home. At the Almeros Greek School, we strongly promote this three-way communication through a variety of different platforms. In this way, we are available and open to discuss any kind of issues, but also to celebrate successes with our families. We really believe in building healthy relationships, and we do our very best for our students to be, above all, happy learners. So here are the pedagogical and instructional tools, our toolbox for this upcoming virtual school year. First of all, detailed and comprehensive curricula, which is something that we will delve into a little bit more in a minute. Age-appropriate and engaging educational platforms. So in a virtual learning environment, it is extremely important to use the most inviting and efficient platforms for easy communication and effective synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Schedule and lesson plans. So each of our teaching sessions is carefully designed in detail to meet the educational and social-emotional needs of our students while following specific learning objectives and appropriate pacing so that nobody's left behind. Informal and formal assessments, in order to help our students' needs and help them reach their potential, we have ongoing, we try for them to be seamless, informal assessments during our classes in the form of discussions, games, etc. We have, of course, formal, oral, and written assessments on specific dates during the year, designed over the students' pacing and progress. And then we have differentiated instruction. My colleague, Ms. Lagoyanis, had the chance to discuss this a bit earlier. Differentiated instruction has been the norm in our school as we've been creating opportunities for small group and one-on-one instruction in order to meet every learner where they're at and help them grow from there. Here you can see the 4 main online educational platforms and apps we will be using this year. We will be using more than those like as auxiliary platforms, but these are the 4 main ones. We used this platform successfully last year when we transitioned to online learning, so we decided to continue with these as our students and families were already familiar with them, and frankly, because they were very effective. Zoom will be the platform for all our synchronous learning, the real-time learning. ClassDojo and Google Classroom are both widely used learning platforms that give a lot of flexibility to the teacher and the student on how to submit and share assignments. They offer asynchronous instruction and help us get and send feedback. They're also great platforms for the teachers, students, and the families or caregivers to communicate clearly and efficiently. Finally, Kahoot is a wonderful and very fun app that allows us to create games, aka informal assessments and reviews, but please don't tell that to your kids. So here you can see an example of our curriculum or of our curricula. This summer, thank you quarantine, we redesigned and updated the entire school curriculum. So we added different class and we started really from the ground. Our goals are still the same with our primary focus on oral communication and comprehension, and then of course literacy. To nurture and develop our students' oral skills while creating a very solid basis for improving their literacy, we will be using as of this year from first grade and up, the series of books Margarita. This series is designed by Eviame, which is a program of the Primary Education Department of the University of Crete, and it is specialized in the instruction of Greek as a second language. This is really one of the most well-rounded, comprehensive, and relevant series for Greek as a second language, which has been taught very successfully around the world. For the younger groups, we will continue using the wonderful series Tailinikami. In order to design our curriculum, we comprised our learning objectives and delved into each of the educational materials we would use for each class and took into consideration our students' needs and learning pacing and created a comprehensive sequential curriculum for the entire year. Let me walk you through our first grade curriculum that we'll use as an example for this presentation. So on the right part of the screen, you can see the 2 books that we're going to be using during the year for the first grade. And on the top of the screen, you can see that we took the entire year, we looked at each very month, and we saw how many days of Greek school do the students get for each month. So for example, in September, we had 5, October 7, and so on. Because this is very important when you design a curriculum. You need to know exactly how much time you have so that you can arrange the timing, the spacing, all of these things. Then we took the units of the group of each book and we saw the different learning objectives that they have. And depending on the difficulty of each unit, we decided on how much time we will dedicate in each one of those units. After that, we decided what kind of assessments we're going to have for each of those units in order to meet those basic learning objectives. Of course, there are always going to be informal assessments during the class by observing the students and have a conversation with them, receiving the homework and sending back feedback. And so this is what the daily informal assessment means, the weekly homework. And then we also have the formal assessments, once every trimester. And the thing is that with educational tools such as Kahoot and Quizlet, we can also have quick, short, and very informal, but very specific for our needs, smaller assessments in order to see where our students are at. And in the end of this, you can see other important calendar events and celebrations, because this is a language program, but this is also a cultural program. And it's important to make the language relevant. And this is why we have included the Greek celebrations, religious celebrations, but also some basic important, American celebrations, because again, relevant curriculum, right? So that we can go from there. And this is a map that every teacher will have, and based on that, they will design their lesson plan. Finally, I'd like to share with you the sample schedule of what our classes will look virtually. Each online class will always have an asynchronous component in order to allow our students to do hands-on schoolwork and apply what they just learned virtually, but also to reduce their screen time while they're still attending the class and complete schoolwork. Each student is different, and this is a suggested schedule, so we will allow room for flexibility if a student, for example, would like to participate more in asynchronous learning or prefers more as asynchronous, without, of course, compromising the quality and product of instruction. Our Greek as a second language program is first and foremost student-centered, and our main focus will always be the student's best interest. Here you can really see how the schedule will probably look like, but we can always tweak it a little bit. That's all from me, Vasiliki.
Thank you, Anastasia. So we're going to move on with our calendar, 2021 school year. As you can see on the left bottom, we have a color key for all the different colors we have on the calendar. The blue color is for the beginning and end of the school year. The orange, there are the presentations and performances. And of course, as we go through the year, we will notify the parents for all these important dates. Then for the green one, and the most important one, is the test and parent teacher conference that we're going to hold during the school year. The bluish greenish color is for the Greek liturgy that Father will offer every third Sunday of the month. So he's going to have only the liturgy only in Greek. And then the red color is for the holidays. And I would like to mention that we do follow the Somerville Public School calendar. Some important upcoming dates are the first day of school, which is the Wednesday, the 16th, for students. And we'll hold the back to school night 2 days before students go back to school. So we keep the parents informed, and we also guide them to support students at home with the remote learning. The tuition is going to be the same as last year. For members of our parish will be $700 the first child, $600 the second and third, etc. For the non-members, it is $1,000 for each child, and the prices include books and the other educational materials. The parish council, responding to the extraordinary circumstances and to the greater needs to our community, is graciously offering a 25% discount towards the tuition of the academic year as the financial relief to the Omerous Greek School community. And the last one, we have a question answer session. Email us at omerous@gmail.com, and we'll promptly answer any questions. We'll address them.
Let's finish with a prayer. Στο όνομα του Πατρός και του Υιού και του Αγίου Πνεύματος, νυν και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Πάτερ ημών, ο εν της ουρανής, αγιαστήτω το όνομά σου, ελθέτω η βασιλεία σου, γεννηθήτω το θέλημά σου, ως εν ουρανών και επί της γης, των άρτων ημών των επιούσιων, δώσιμεν σήμερον, και άφες ημίν τα οφειλήματα ημών, ως και εμείς αφίεμεν τις αφελέτες ημών, και μη εσενέγες εμάς εις περασμόν, αλλά ρίσε ημάς από του πονηρού, ότι σου εστίν η βασιλεία και η δύναμη και η δόξα του Πατρός και του Υιού και του Αγίου Πνεύματος, νυν και αεί και εις τους αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν.